International pressure is now weighing heavily on the Tanzanian government after a bloc of 17 Western countries issued a strongly worded joint statement demanding the urgent release of bodies of those killed and the immediate release of political prisoners. As Faith Wangari highlights more on this, the call comes amid growing concerns over alleged human rights violations and a tightening clampdown on dissent.
Mounting international pressure is now bearing down on Tanzania after a bloc of 17 European Union and Western countries issued a joint statement demanding the urgent release of all bodies of those killed and the immediate release of political prisoners. The diplomatic group says families have waited far too long for closure, accusing authorities of withholding bodies and detaining government critics in a sweeping crackdown. And while Tanzania has tightened its grip, even silencing much of the local media, the story has refused to disappear. Because as an independent report continues to leak out, the world kept watching, and now the world is responding. A coalition expressed concerns over reports of violence following Tanzania's recent elections, urging Tanzania authorities to exercise restraint and uphold citizens' fundamental freedoms, including access to information and freedom of expression. The demand by the 17 nations marks the strongest coordinated call for yet accountability, even as Tanzania has not publicly responded. Envoys are urging the authorities to release detainees, return bodies of families, and exercise maximum restraint as calls grow for justice, transparency, and a fully independent inquiry. The message is clear. The protection of human life, civil liberties, constitutional freedoms must remain in the heart of a country's search for stability. US President Donald Trump this week said his government is comprehensively reviewing its ties with Tanzania after the State Department condemned repression and disturbing violence against civilians during protests that followed the country's disputed October presidential election. Tanzania's President Samia Suluhu Hassan angrily hit out Western nations, religious leaders and opposition figures, accusing them of interfering in the country's internal affairs.
Kwamba tulitumia nguvu kubwa sana kwenye tukio lile. Nguvu ndogo ilikuwa ni ipi? Ilikuwa tuwaangalie waandamanaji waliojiandaa kufanya mapinduzi mpaka wafanikiwe.
The statement was issued by the diplomatic missions of the United Kingdom, Canada, Norway, Switzerland, Belgium, Denmark, Finland, France, Germany, Ireland, Italy, the Netherlands, Poland, Spain, and Sweden. For now, the international community is waiting and watching closely to see what Tanzania does next. Faith Wangari for TV 47, Nairobi.